Alright YouTube, welcome back. Has been a while, just haven't had time, a lot of work. I'm doing this video because I am doing a lot of modifications on my wood processor, splitter, whatever you want to call it. I built a splitter, link in the description of a walk around that is for processing tree service wood. Do-it-yourself project kind of thing for small businesses who don't have, or want to spend the, what is it, up to now, almost 20 grand on these splitters coming out of Easton Made. It might even be over, or Wood-Mizer, or, all of those people. They've gotten crazy. So this is a machine that I have been working on for decades. Got it in 1994. I actually checked. I think later on in the video you'll hear me say 96. And I've run it, and it has run. It has generated wood. At one point it was doing like 100 cords a year. It ran every day after work for a little while. But now I'm modifying it. The intent is to make a one-man machine where you can split the wood. It pushes it forward with your stroke, hits a conveyor, up the conveyor and it can be used on site, it can be used on a truck, it can be used in a yard, it can load a truck, it can make a pile, it can do both maybe potentially if I do at the same time, not at the same time, but without moving the machine. I'm going to look at putting a radial stacker on it, but neither here nor there. Anyway, let me give you a once-over of where we're at, what we're doing. There's some links in the description for various things, a walk around of the machine operating, how I did my homemade 4-way wedge, which, geez, I hope I put it back on the thing. I better check that. I'll do that right now. Hang on. Oh my God. Yeah, I did. I was hoping, thanking goodness I cut the hopper back. You'll see later if I had just left it on the deck of the machine, it would be gone by now. But I didn't. Anyway, how I made the 4-way wedge, how I developed a manual stroke limiter, and all of my improvements are as mechanical and simple as possible, so that there's not a lot of expenditure on hydraulics. They work efficiently, cleanly, and they're cheap. I mean, I don't know how else to tell you. When I say cheap, I mean inexpensive. That's it. As we go on and I'm working on things, I'll do little videos of while I'm working on it and just point out little things. So yes, this is a series. I have allowed myself a week and a half to get this project done because the weather's going to be shitty by me. So I'm just going to post them as I can, do my editing as I can, and we'll see how long it takes me to post them. I'm hoping to have everything posted in like 6 weeks. I hope you follow along. I hope that it helps you out with whatever wood splitting project you're on, and that's it. So enjoy the rest of the video, and thanks for watching. This is the machine that I'm modifying. There will be a video of this being operational in the description if you want to see it, and it'll be uploaded just prior to me uploading this one. Let's go over the salient points here. Let's start with the genesis of the machine, how it got like this. The original splitter unit, which is all tucked right here, is a Timber King 24-8. Came to me with an 8-horse Briggs on it around 1996. Used that Briggs up. I don't know how old it was when I got it. Used that Briggs up until about 99. Then I put a Wisconsin Robin EY28 on it. Loved it. That ran till 2004, at which point I put an old used Briggs on it until I found this beauty. And this was a Facebook Marketplace find. This is a Honda GX 340. I love Honda engines. I love the Subaru Robin engines. And I like Briggs, don't get me wrong. Good long-running engines, they're just loud. I try and avoid them. Anyway, this is what we started with as the original splitter, which looked like this. At that point, it was modified with this hopper and the rear end of the original splitter, and if I have a picture of it, I'll put it right here. Okay. Then I started the modifications on the whole thing, and well, before we get there, originally with that first setup with the rear axle of the splitter still on it, this had pieces right here on both sides, and it was designed so we could put splitters on the sides. People could split into the hopper, and the feed of the logs would advance the wood onto a big double flight conveyor. That worked, but there were a lot of issues with pieces getting underneath the flight of the conveyor, the double chains, and locking it up top, or woods getting jammed on an angle inside of it. It was an old John Deere. So we moved to a hay elevator, the skeleton type, where we ran a channel steel down it for the chain, and then welded angle sides on it, which worked really, really nicely. But we would get too much built here. You would have to constantly, get on it every like 15 logs or so and clear everything. Otherwise, the wood would pile up over the funnel, because it wasn't really designed to do that. It was actually designed to just hold the wood, and if somebody was going to be right here working, they could kind of help it along. All in all, it worked well. Then I decided I was going to finish this off with the original intention. The intention of this project is to have a one-piece unit that requires zero setup to use in the field. So that's where this is going. There are some things that we have to do first. It is made for one-man use. You go there, you set it up, you work. It is towed from the engine head end and runs off of here. As it stands now, if you're piling wood, you can run a long wood pile. I would like to put a pintle hitch on this side too, so that you can pull it with a dump truck, put it into the dump truck, take the dump truck out of the way and dump it, and then back up along the pile, so that you don't have to constantly be moving wood with a loader or something else. You can just go back and forth along the wood pile and move closer to the wood pile. The idea is to remove as much labor as possible. So let's get right to, there's two things that are major league modifications. One is this hopper. The length of it is too long if it's going to just be this setup. It's got to be shortened. The other is the elevator. I did it in a rush. We'll do that second. The intention is, I'm sure you could see this line because I already started cutting. That's where I'm cutting the hopper back to. I cut it free already, but I put it back in place so you could see it. That is the one thing that's going to get done. I'm going to put sides going forward right here. They'll extend just beyond the cut. I'll fold it up so you can see the cut in a second. And the other thing that I want to do to this whole hopper right now, as our first round, is I want to put a lever lift for the four-way. I don't want it to be hydraulic. The whole premise of how I work is this is a do-it-yourself thing. It's simple is best. Keep it simple, stupid. First rule of engineering. I want to just put a push rod up, probably going to use rebar with a lever on it, maybe over here a foot lever, maybe like an old brake lever with a locking handle, so that when you're splitting with the four-way, if you get stuff that's too big to make into four and is going to hit, too small to make into four proper, and you want to just split it in half, you can just lift this up with the lever and then just split. Real easy. Clink, do it, clink. As it stands now, I have a tendency to hold wood like this and let it go over the wings, but I want it to be as efficient as possible and simple as possible. Okay, we're going to start down here at the bottom. Now you see that's rocking because it's cut for a. This is attached to the conveyor. I put this in here just because I needed something, because there's an axle under there blocking the mount of the conveyor. It actually works surprisingly well. So somehow in here I want to integrate pipes. I mean, this is a traditional way to do it. It's done in a lot, you'll see a lot of tables that are made like that. I want to integrate them into here somewhere because that was very, very efficient and very effective. The problem with this conveyor is the cog is right here, so the teeth on the conveyor are lifting up here and not pulling forward. It stacks the wood up. It doesn't grab it as good as it should until it eventually gets pushed on here. Then it picks it okay. When I slapped this thing together, I built this entire conveyor. I made this 4 inches wide because I needed it to do furnace wood. It works. It's not the best setup in the world. I would like it to be narrower and have the walls come right down along the chain. So I'm going to do that. The other thing is that I'm going to have to widen this because, of course, I'm widening the feed. And this is how it was set now. I would like the conveyor to actually, I would like this portion to actually run out to about here on the conveyor. That would be ideal because then I could put sweepers on and we could help prevent anything from getting piled up on here much better, you know, like all the frass and debris. The other issue with this conveyor is it is a bottom drive conveyor, which means you're pulling from the other side, so it's not as efficient as it should, and it generates slack in the chain, and it does lead to, if the chain gets at all loose, it leads to running it off on the adjuster head on the top. All right, what the plan is this is how it runs now. 1.5 inch, 12 inch, 1.5 inch, 12 inch, getting huge reduction. Semi-slack belt, so if something gets caught in the drive, the engine will just spin on the belt. You don't screw up your mechanical works. All of this drive I want to move to the headstock, and the chain adjuster slider I would like to move down here. I want to keep the engine off of the conveyor itself. Elevator, for you guys who are farmers, using the right terms. I'll try and stick with the right term too. And if you want to learn about machinery, talk to a farmer. They'll teach you all sorts of neat tricks. So the plan is to have the chain drive up here. Instead of running back with the belt like I ran the chain one way and the belt the other on that to make it a little more compact, we'll run the belt down to another small or large wheel with a small wheel on it, or wait, a small wheel with a large wheel on it. And then we'll run from the large wheel back to the engine, which will be mounted on the body of the machine. And that keeps all the weight off of this. This entire thing was homemade. We'll go into this, and when we do it, we'll go over all the steps, and we'll cover all of that at that time. As you can see, the elevator is mounted on that cross member there, and there's an axle here. This was already built, so that limited where it could dump onto the conveyor. I am moving the conveyor back so that it's supported closer to the end. I'm actually extending the conveyor too. I want to be able to get at least 12 feet height off of this. The conveyor is going to be fixed, but I have to be able to get this hopper further underneath. Now, this whole unit is going to only be about this long. It's up back here, it's not going to have the top. This is all going to be moved up, so I'll be able to get this about this far underneath that deck, so that when the wood drops on, it drops off the edge into here. Some big wide ears to catch it off the whole width of the hopper up there into the hopper here. So it ought to work out beautifully. So that's it in a nutshell. I'm considering putting the bars in right through here, right up to the edge. We're gonna have to engineer that as we go. So that's everything. I'll just say thanks for watching. We're all done, Hans. Now all we have to do is go home, bring in some firewood, and then we'll have, what do you think? How about tomato soup with garlic bread and the spices we use for making curry on it? Sounds good, right? Sounds good to me too. Alright, buddy. That sounds like a plan. Let's go home and have lunch. And then it's gonna snow.